is over.
Hey everybody, and I don't know, but I think we may have had Hacksaw Jim Duggan in the studio with us tonight. I'm not sure. But you know, hey, look, Hacksaw provided us a public service thing here to wake everyone up out there, because obviously it is time for another episode of the Insiders podcast. And welcome to everybody joining us tonight. We are thrilled to have you guys with us, and we've got a good show for you guys. Little bit of changes going on here, but we do have a great show, and we've got some things where we would like to get your guys' participation in as well, because we have our debate segment coming up, our Inside the Rope segment a little bit later, and because we can make that a little longer tonight, unfortunately we do not have Mr. Rotella anymore with us. He's kind of taking a little break, doing a little bit of work in a different area. So we will end up doing an extra debate. We know we love that debate segment, and so what we're going to do is we're going to have you guys. So start to think of this now while we're at the start of the show, and we're going to have you guys give us something to debate later. So we'll pick one that we see in the chat when we get to that point. Kind of start throwing them out there when we get to like the third one that we're doing, and we'll pick one out. Remember, keep it, you can make it a little controversial, because we all know Joe likes to play the heel. So, send us something over, and we would really appreciate that. So, yes, it has been a heck of a week, guys. And let me welcome in Jeff, man. Jeff, how are you doing, man?
Doing pretty good, man. How about you?
I am doing well. I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. And let's just kick this right off, guys, because we have a lot to talk about. And as always, we have Gary Cassidy with us today, and he is joining us for our opening bell segment. And we're going to get right into this because there's the bell, guys. It is time for Gary Cassidy. Welcome, Gary. As always, we appreciate you staying up late and joining us tonight.
No worries at all. Thank you again for having me, guys. It's definitely appreciated.
Absolutely, man. We love having you here. So let's get right into this. We have a lot of news going on in wrestling. And I mean, everybody out there knows it is not something that is a secret. And a lot of it's not really, unfortunately, good news. So let's get right into this. We have heard rumors going around out there about more positive tests for COVID-19 in WWE. So, Gary, what have you heard about this? I know there are rumors. I don't know if any of this stuff is confirmed. I mean, we've heard there could be a few, we've heard there could be a couple dozen. What's the story on your end? What did you hear about this?
Full transparency, I have heard absolutely nothing at all about it. It's one of those ones that I had a little bit of a day away from everything, and it just so happens that I decided, do you know what, I'll have a wee check of Twitter today, and of course, there's not a day that goes by in wrestling nowadays where there isn't major news breaking. So of course saw the statement the article earlier from Ryan Satin of Pro Wrestling Sheet, followed up by Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful, and then Mike Johnson of PW Insider. So that's three people straight away that, whenever one of them says something, I'm inclined to believe it because of their track record. And yeah, at first, Ryan Satin was saying multiple, minimum of three, definitely involving talents, but couldn't clarify how many talents. And then PW Insider have said that while they can't verify it, they have one source telling them 24 is the range we're looking at, which, obviously for anyone that doesn't know mathematics too well, 24 is 24, which is quite a number considering the numbers that we would be led to believe are in the building one time. Only over the past couple of hours during NXT, WWE released a statement. They didn't confirm or deny anything regarding the cases. They completely steered clear of mentioning actual confirmed cases. But what they did say, a lot of people were calling for them to take a break. What they did say is WWE will continue COVID-19 testing of its talents, production crew, and employees in advance of TV productions for the foreseeable future. So at the very least, that's got to lead you to believe there's not going to be much of a change in terms of programming. I'd guess we're going to get some live programming this week and next. And, NXT have been promoting it already, and SmackDown's meant to be getting taped on Friday. Whether we see, I don't know if they'll maybe, I would think they would have to probably try and tape a few episodes of what they're going to tape over the weekend. But yeah, pretty grim news. Obviously everyone has seen what effects COVID-19 can potentially have all around the world. So it's not good news when anyone gets it, but least of all when possibly 24 people get it and have been going home to their families and loved ones and stuff. So, yep, we can only hope for good news. But I don't know how much our hopes will go, how far they'll go.
Yeah, it's something that could really be devastating here. And I was thinking about this before, I had been talking to some people in the community about it too. How you've got talk about superstars getting ready to return. Obviously, we heard about Roman Reigns, and obviously now we're seeing the vignettes now with Bray Wyatt. So some of these guys are getting ready to come back. How nervous are they going to be to want to step back into this now with this news going around? And I know they're saying that they're going to increase testing, and they're going to maybe they're going to stop with the fans and the friends and family coming. But how big of an impact can this really have? I mean, if there's this many people and they are superstars, and again, rumors all around, guys. So just be careful of what you read. I mean, obviously, I read some stuff saying Renee Young was one of them, and that's the reason why Moxley's been kind of taken off of TV and precautions. But listen, none of that's been confirmed, obviously, by anyone. So just be careful what you read, because you're going to see a lot of names out there. But Gary, in your opinion, can this be something that can stop them from taping altogether, or is this something that you think that they can work through?
Oh, well, the potential is, limitless, sadly. The thing is, for the Renee Young one, I think that what I read into Tony Khan's statement on Jon Moxley is that Jon Moxley has been in contact with someone who has been in contact with someone who tested positive. So obviously people will, take from that it could be Renee Young, but from what I understand, that didn't look like a sign that she had tested positive herself, but rather that she's been in the vicinity of someone who has tested positive. Of course, might not be in relation to her, but that was what I took from that statement anyway. But yeah, on that note as well, if you look at it, it's not just WWE. It's not just Jon Moxley that's cohabiting with someone from WWE that's in AEW. You've got Big Swole, who lives with Cedric Alexander. You've got Britt Baker. There's a load. There's I think there's at least 5 or 6 people that have got partners in a different company. But in terms of WWE's impact, it just depends. Out of those 24 people, while I wouldn't want to put different values on certain people, I wouldn't want to say, well, if it's only production people or if it's only crew. But obviously we know that if it was production or crew, we are less likely to see the impact on screen. Whereas, those out of those 24 people, how many of them might be people that are on TV regularly? It's quite hard to hide that. I don't think they would hide it anyway, but it's quite hard to hide that. And obviously it would throw a giant spanner in the works of any programming that's coming up if they were to lose anyone holding a championship belt for a start. We've already seen the uproar when Sami Zayn decided not to attend television and was stripped of his title. Of course, his decision's been vindicated, as has Kevin Owens and as has Roman Reigns to not work. But yeah, it just depends on, again, I don't want to speculate on names, but you have to think realistically. If anyone that holds a title belt, anyone that's a major player or is in a current storyline is affected in any way, then they're going to be off TV for at least 2 weeks, you'd have to think. So so it can affect them. And, that's just 24 people. Obviously, we're still saying 24. Don't take that as a given. That's the number that has been that's not been verified yet. But if you think if 24 people did test positive last week, then there may be more again. That's not saying that, it stops. It's, while WWE stops for nothing, and we saw that during WrestleMania, this virus has stopped absolutely everything on the planet. So I wouldn't put it past, anything being completely written off. I think we could see big changes. We'll definitely see changes to programming, multiple rewrites in the script and all that kind of thing. But it could definitely stop production altogether if it did get worse.
Yeah, it's a scary thought. I mean, look, they've been going strong for all these months and fighting through this. One of the only, places where you got to see live entertainment that didn't come to a halt. And now it seems like now it's kind of catching up. And yeah, it would be a real shame if it started to happen like that. I'm going to get Jeff's thoughts. Let me just shout out some of the people that are in the chat. I'm going to say hello to some people. Eric Haberman, hello to you. Joshua, hello to you. BBJD Wrestling, hello to you. C Wrestling, hello to you as well, sir. Rusty Shackelford, hello, man. Nice to see you. Jake, hello to you. Train Dude 5, hello to you as well. Sunny Wolf, hello to you. Austin 316, welcome. Callan Corner, hello to you. Jesse, welcome in. Who else? Chalmers, hello to you. Scrolling down. Jake, if I didn't say hello to you, I will say it again. Derek Stark is here. Derek joined us for an interview earlier today. So if you haven't caught that, go back and check that out. It was a very fun interview we had with him. Welcome into the stream as well, sir. Glad you could join us tonight. And welcome to everyone. So, Jeff, what do you think are and KJ Carter, yes, you can get a shout out. Hello, KJ, how are you this evening, my friend? Nice to see you. Jeff, what do you think of this? And I mean, how bad do you think this can get?
This is terrible, and this was one of the fears that many people had when WWE and AEW and others announced that they were going to continue to do shows. And, this is just the unfortunate reality of it. And, right now we're seeing more spikes in the country, and Florida is definitely one of those states that's seeing increased cases, unfortunately. But I mean, I think like Gary said, I mean, you have people that are testing, and, you get however many you have right now, but who's to say that a week from now, other people aren't starting to show symptoms? And, then you have another batch of testing, and maybe you get more people then. So I think this is a very serious issue, and I think it has to at least be on the table to maybe suspend taping or do something a little bit different for at least 2 or 3 weeks if it ends up being as many cases as we're thinking.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't think that they'd really have a choice at that point. Look, it's happening in other places. If anybody else follows the NFL, there were 2 teams, the Cowboys and the Texans, I believe it was, that had players that were getting it. They were practicing together. And, some of their players have now gotten it as well. So it is happening because now, look, you're getting gatherings again. These people are going back to work, back to practice and that. And of course, with WWE, they're letting, friends and family in the building. So, unfortunately, it's definitely not good news. And we hope that WWE can fight through this. They've been doing a great job with it, as has AEW, and all the companies that are really trying to, control it and really trying to make sure that they're careful. But look, it's an unforgiving enemy. And unfortunately, sometimes you just can't fight it. Rusty says, I understand economic impacts across the country, but I still believe that everything was opened back up way too soon. We'll be talking about this virus until the end of the year. You're probably right. You're probably right. I would agree with you. All right, so moving on. Again, another big topic in the wrestling world. And this is going to be obviously the speaking out movement. A lot of news with this over the past 5 days or more. We've had a lot of people come out and speak out about wrestlers and about, harassment and about, charges of that nature, things that they're coming out and saying. And we've seen a lot of action on that front. Sammy Guevara, I know. And now, as soon as today, we got some news about Brock Lesnar as well. So, Gary, I'm going to go back to you because you've been very vocal on this. I know we liked some of your posts with it and the things that you said. I know you've stood up and claimed that you're very proud of these people for coming out and speaking out about this stuff. So I want to get your take on this as well. And if there's anything new on the news front there that maybe we haven't heard about.
Yeah, so obviously it is, it's a horrible situation. And this all came about last week where one person shared a story. Again, on social media, I've been trying to avoid saying names just because, in terms of journalism, it's quite hard to report on these kind of things because a lot of them have since turned into criminal cases. So I've tried to, draw a line as to where I stand on it. And obviously, I've been very vocal on my support for the people coming forward. I think everyone has. That's the one positive you definitely have to take from this. The support showing's been great, and I think we will see a better wrestling industry going forward. Maybe one with a lot more females in higher up positions, which would be great to see. But yeah, so it all started out with the one individual. I can name a few because there have been things that have happened, but it all started from my understanding with David Starr. Someone spoke out about him. And then a few other people spoke out about him, and they gave a really lackluster apology on the matter. I always say it's not an apology if you say "but" after your apology and then start defending yourself. That's just an excuse. But he did that, got stripped of a few titles, and then we started seeing a lot of names. And I think this affected the UK a lot more than it did the USA at first, but now it's starting to get to you guys' side of the pond, and I think is in full force there as well, the movement. But a lot of talents getting accused here, specifically at my local promotion, and it was a lot of talents who work there, but also work in NXT UK. So obviously a lot of WWE employees or private contractors, but people who are working with WWE. So I of course started reaching out straight away. Again, I report on things if I get a statement from either the talent or the promotion. And then it means that, you can then link back to what the allegations were. And it kind of just covers you legally a little bit. So I started reaching out to promotions. Of course, at the time, it was AEW and it was Jimmy Havoc, but they didn't reply to me. They then put out a statement of their own on Jimmy Havoc saying that they had essentially put him into counselling and it was mainly they were trying to address mental health problems and substance abuse issues with him. Impact Wrestling, they were one who they get back to me straight away, but they did say, I have to go through a UK team with them. So they said because of the time difference and stuff, they just hadn't managed to get a statement from the US team. But they waited 4 days and then they gave a pretty definitive statement and action in the way of, completely severing ties with Joey Ryan, Dave Christ, and they've suspended Michael Elgin as well. But obviously, the big player, the one everyone wants to know about is WWE. All eyes are always on WWE with any kind of thing like this. So they put out 2 identical statements at first, kind of just saying they were investigating. This was on Jordan Devlin and Matt Riddle, who were both named, and they put out identical statements on both, essentially just saying that they were investigating. One person they didn't put out a statement on, but then released, was Jack Gallagher. No questions asked on that. They just released him, and not only released him, if you type Jack Gallagher into WWE.com, as far as I believe still now, I checked it last up on it yesterday, but if you type his name in, you only see, a few highlights from pay-per-views show up on the very bottom. And the released article shows up, but if you try and click on his name for his profile, it's gone. It says access denied. He has been completely deleted from WWE.com. He's not in the alumni section, nothing. But they did put out a lengthier statement, which I won't read the full thing because it is quite a long statement. But to summarise it, they do say that individuals are responsible for their own personal actions, but that WWE has zero tolerance for matters including domestic abuse, child abuse, and sexual assault. And the main thing, the thing that I took from it is they gave, a direct route of action. So they said if someone was arrested for misconduct, they would be immediately suspended. If they were convicted for that misconduct, their contract would be terminated. So, that is zero tolerance as you can get on this. And what they also said was that their ability to fine, suspend, or terminate a talent's contract would not be limited to that. So they can do it even if none of those things happen. The only update I really have on this, because I did say a lot of it's been criminal, turned into kind of criminal investigations and stuff like that. But the only update I have is actually just something I noticed literally before we came on air. So tomorrow is the day that NXT UK normally airs here, and I know a lot of US people might not be too interested in NXT UK, but that Twitter account has laid dormant for 6 days, which is, right after these allegations started. There is nothing being promoted, nothing being advertised, no tweets being sent out. So I've actually literally just reached out to WWE to ask if the programming is going to continue, because there's not been any programming apart from highlights that have been shown, highlight packages, Zoom interviews and all that kind of thing, but no fresh stuff because the UK is actually on a lockdown where you can't tape wrestling shows. So I've asked about that, but yeah, a lot of worrying stuff. And we mentioned that the virus doesn't seem to discriminate. This seems to, it is discrimination, but it seems like everyone's been affected, every company. Obviously, predominantly women we've seen speaking out, but Keith Lee even took to Twitter yesterday to share, a pretty harrowing story, but also a pretty uplifting story, because just the way he addresses things is a very positive manner. But it seems like everyone's been affected by this, and the only thing we can hope for, there's nothing that can be changed, sadly, in terms of the past. But I think we will see big changes and positive changes across the board in wrestling. We've seen, Shikara Wrestling have announced that they are closing operations. Progress have done the same, at least for now. And I think we will see, big changes as to how wrestling, and at the very top level in terms of creative and booking, I think we'll see big changes there, and big changes in how trainers are dealing with their trainees and stuff. So hopefully we do see, more women and more important roles. I'd like that to be one of the things. But yeah, pretty harrowing stuff.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. And obviously we saw too the NWA. Eric Haberman pointed it out, was hit really hard as well. Mr. Lagana, who was their VP or CEO, I believe, obviously stepped down. And they ceased operations until they kind of decide what they're going to do moving forward. So yes, this has definitely affected everyone. And I love your statement. Look, sometimes you get this negativity and you can make it into a positive. And I guess, the stuff people say, well, how the heck do you make, a virus into a positive? But you can get positives from this stuff. And sometimes it just takes a long time to see it. But like Gary said, with this, what you hope is that going forward, they people will not be afraid to say things and speak their minds and speak out, and you might see now more being done by different wrestling companies and stuff like that to talk about this, to make sure that this doesn't happen again. And so look, if that happens, I think Derek was in, we were talking about this in our interview with him as well. And, we kind of mentioned, look, these athletes have to be a little more responsible. It's a different atmosphere today. And I mentioned on that interview, everyone has a cell phone. Everyone is armed with a camera. That wasn't the case when I was growing up. So, maybe you can think you can get away with more things then. You can't now. And I think that has to make these people think that, listen, you got to be more responsible. Instead of going to that party after the show, go to your room. Go talk to your family. Go, do something else. But stay away from this kind of thing. And maybe this will kind of open some eyes, and make this thing become a positive down the road. So, very heavy stuff. Absolutely very heavy stuff. So let's go to our next topic here. And again, the things don't get much better in any of these, unfortunately. No, well, I guess why don't we touch on Charlotte Flair? So of course we saw what happened to her. Now again, differentiating stories out there. You heard she got hurt by Nia. And then, poor Nia. Nia gets blamed for so many injuries in WWE. And obviously she is out, I guess, with is it a collarbone injury? Gary, what have you heard about Charlotte?
So I actually think the Nia Jax thing was a complete rib on everyone, because the injury is definitely not a collarbone injury.
Okay.
Sadly, I've got no idea what the actual injury is, but they obviously wrote her off and said it was a collarbone injury. So I believe it was a bit of a rib for them to have Nia Jax, be the one to write her off TV. But in the seriousness part of it, for me, I feel like a lot of people have been open about how they've got sick of Charlotte Flair being on every show for the past few months. I'm in the complete opposite boat of that. I feel like, she has been on every show because she is a great performer. I know that's the kind of statement that somehow won't go down well. But I think she's been, brilliant for way too long, and that might be, what she said to me was that was to her detriment. The twice I've interviewed her, she's been like, I feel like I get this stick because I'm too consistent. I'm never injured. And the last injury she had, I believe, was 2 years ago when she had some kind of dental problem and she was off for 2 weeks. But she said, she's been going for 6 years, essentially, without any major time off. And that it was to her detriment that she was always there. She felt like she was putting on the best work of her life. And the thing that makes it a wee bit sadder for me is at the very end of the last time I asked her about that, which was only a month ago, less than a month ago, she said, why shouldn't I be hungry? Why shouldn't I always want to be on the show? And she said that she loved what she did, essentially. She was saying, I love what I do, so I just want to always be there. I don't want to take time off. Which, it's quite sad now when you think, well, she's been forced into taking time off. There are some conflicting stories about this. So Dave Meltzer said that there is a slight chance she might be back for SummerSlam. Obviously, SummerSlam is quite soon. If it goes ahead as planned, it's a month and a bit away. But Alex McCarthy of TalkSport said, from what he's heard, there is 0% chance of that happening. He said that it's more likely going to be the build-up to the Royal Rumble, which is quite a long way away. That's almost 6 months away if you think the build-up is even, a month before it. So, yeah, almost 6 months away. But he said there might be a small chance that she's back for Survivor Series. The one thing, again, we mentioned, or you just mentioned it there, that, sometimes you need to try and look for positives. For me, I think the positive is definitely going to be that I think people will, and I could be wrong here, but I think people will definitely start to miss Charlotte Flair, much in the same way that they've missed Roman Reigns, they've missed John Cena in the past. I think people will start to realise what a performer Charlotte Flair is, and I think we might start to see people, I think we'll see a lot more talents getting chances as well, which is good. That's obviously always a good thing. Where one door closes, another opens and all that. But I think people might start to miss Charlotte Flair and might start to appreciate her a bit more when she's back. And I do get all the criticisms that she's got, but I kind of hope that's the way, and I hope that it is one of those things where the break actually is good for her and for the crowd, because, we might not be subjected to seeing her on every single show, which can be overkill for pretty much any performer. So hopefully when she does come back, people will start to be like, oh wait, Charlotte Flair's quite a good performer. But yeah, worrying. As you said, it's not been a good news week, sadly.
Yeah, no, it certainly has not. And I know we rag on Charlotte in here a little bit. We bust on her a little bit. So, but look, you can't take it away. She has done it all. She is a great performer. And the fact that she carried 3 shows, really. I mean, NXT, SmackDown and Raw, she was carrying them pretty much for the women's division. So hats off to her. And maybe, maybe it was a little too much. And look, anything can happen. So I'm sure you're right, Gary. And I'm sure sometimes when someone goes away, you don't realize how much that you do miss them. So I'm sure when she comes back, it's going to be exciting to eventually have her back. And our last
maybe you'll get her back in a match with. Sorry, maybe you'll get her back in a match with Randy Orton, as we discussed last week.
Oh, I know. Wouldn't that be something? I'm kind of doubting that's going to happen now because, her first match back, I kind of don't think they're going to throw her in there at Randy. But if there were plans about that happening, I'm not too sure they're going to do that. Our last topic, man, we got to ask you. Obviously, we had been talking about this up to this past Sunday. And again, another somber topic, The Undertaker and his, what looks to be his retirement. We talked about this. We kind of did an Undertaker show talking about his career. And, obviously, I'm sure you watched Last Ride. I was up early that morning to make sure I watched it. I spoiled the ending. I even went to the very end and watched the last 6 minutes and then went back and watched the beginning because I had to know. Obviously, I mean, we've been seeing things now the last few days. We've seen pictures. I don't know if you saw the picture of Madison Square Garden with the thank you Taker billboard on top of Madison Square Garden. So, I mean, it is really looking like this is the end. I mean, do you think, obviously gave us that little window and he said, if Vince calls, break glass and maybe, so, I mean, do you think we see him again or do you think this really, really is the last time we saw Undertaker in a match?
I hope someone takes Vince McMahon's phone and deletes Undertaker's number from it because I feel like we have the perfect ending. I feel like that was it. The one thing, I've said it the past few weeks where the one thing I've learned from myself was willpower in terms of being sent the copy of the episode in advance and deliberately not watching it until the Friday when I could report on it. Thankfully, WWE didn't even send me it this week. They didn't send any advance copies to anyone, which I thought was a brilliant touch because it meant no spoilers would get out before people could watch it. Obviously, they still did within, everyone that did start watching it bang on when it dropped and skipped to the end so they could write their headline, Undertaker's retired and all that stuff. But I thought it was just brilliant. I just really, really enjoyed it. I think overall the series for me, I'm going to go back and watch the full series. I think it was absolutely brilliant. I feel like it was perfectly done. The only thing is, I feel like now we had 4 episodes, over 4 episodes of The Undertaker battling himself, really. We had, in battling with, I don't want to say addiction to wrestling, but it seemed like every time he had a good match, he had to have another good match because he enjoyed the first one so much. Every time he had a bad match, he had to have redemption. And it feels like that 5th episode, we finally got closure. It feels like we finally got, Undertaker being happy with what he'd done. But at the same time, it's notable that, that last episode was only recorded 2 weeks ago. So Undertaker could easily change his mind within the next however long. Because, we've seen, what was it? It spanned, I think, 3 or 4 years, that full series. And the amount of times he seemed like he was happy and seemed like he was done, there was more times that he said that than there were episodes. So I feel like I really hope that is way of bowing out. And the one thing as well, I thought it was, the most somber part was when he spoke about the Boneyard match and how he lost his brother the night before he had to go and record it. And then, of course, he was recording it in a place filled with coffins and where it was all about burials and death and stuff like that. And I felt like it was, it was yet again, after the 1st, 2nd, 3rd episode, 4th episode, I was like, I don't know how much more we can find out about The Undertaker as a person or as Mark Calloway as a person. but I feel like we did, and I think it was just the perfect ending. And yet, while it was a bit somber and a bit poignant, I actually left it really happy. I thought it was a nice episode, a nice way to bow out. I thought it was the perfect way to bow out, and yeah, that Madison Square Garden photo I thought was absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I agree. And look, credit where credit is due. My co-host called this. He said that back when we were first talking about episode 1. And he said that, he really thinks that he's going to announce his retirement at the end. And, that's certainly what he did. And, and so, man, Jeff, kudos, buddy, because you called it right from the start.
I mean, I'm not one to brag or toot my own horn, especially not about something like this. But I got that feeling as soon as the Boneyard match was over, just with all the imagery and the picture that we have up right now with him, kind of riding off, and his logo being up there on that barn, and how everything ended. I really felt like that was the perfect way to send him off. And I didn't want it to happen. I mean, obviously, selfishly, as a wrestling fan, I would love to see him wrestle more and to see him in some of these matches that we always fantasy book. But at the same time, the man, he has a family, and he's been, running, around the world and all of that for years. And a lot of people just think about the 30 years that he's been the Undertaker, but he started well before that. So I don't think a lot of people understand that part too. He's been in the business for well over 35 years. So I think it's time for him to take a rest and do what he's doing and enjoy his family. And I do think that a lot of the things that happened in his life, most recently with his brother and with the whole pandemic, and with just seeing his own mortality, basically, when he darn near broke his neck against Goldberg. And I think seeing all of those things, he just finally said, you know what, I think I'm happy with what I've put out there.
Yeah, great point. Yep, absolutely great point. Yeah, well, what an opening segment, guys. We're sorry we get, just sometimes the wrestling business works out this way, and we don't have the most, wonderful news to give you guys. We hope that changes. But again, I thank you to Gary. Gary, people are shouting out happy anniversary, Gary. What's going on with the anniversary?
Oh, yeah, it's me and my fiance's 7th anniversary. Well, 7 years ago we started being in a relationship, so yeah, that was today. So that's kind of why I took a little time away from the wrestling today, but obviously I got dragged back in with all the bad news.
Oh man, what a way to spend an anniversary with bad news in wrestling. Well, listen, happy anniversary from us, obviously, and I know the guys out there were saying happy anniversary to you as well. And listen, thank you for joining us again this week. We really appreciate you coming on. I know our community loves to listen to you as well and get that news that's out there. So again, thank you so much for coming on in. And listen, hopefully we get a much better news thing next week to talk to you about.
Yeah, thank you, and thank you to everyone in the chat. I can see all those messages, and that is really, really nice. So thank you, everyone. The one thing I'll say, I'm slightly disappointed that Jeff said that he's not one to toot his own horn, because I really wanted 2 seconds later a sound effect of a horn tooting to come up, man. I was expecting it. I thought it was going to scare Sadly not. But yeah, I'm really hoping that next week.
There you go.
There we go. We've got Jeff tooting his own horn. That's exactly
ask and you shall receive. Yes.
But yeah, hopefully next week we'll have a little bit of better news, a little bit of happier news, and yeah, hopefully everyone just takes care until then, because I know obviously we've been shown over the last day that obviously it is still a bit of a dangerous world out there. So hopefully everyone takes care and we can all enjoy wrestling for another week.
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, thank you very much, sir, for joining us, and we will let you go and get some sleep. I know it is very late over there where you are, so enjoy your wrestling week. I know our guys will be watching for your column as always. So thanks for joining us, man.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
You too, sir.
Cheers. Bye.
Thanks, Gary.
Well, guys, thank you again. I can't thank Gary enough for being with us. Gary is a very busy man. If you guys don't follow him, he has been really, really busy. You can see all his stuff on Twitter, obviously with Sportskeeda as well. He has been on top of all these things and really, really doing a great job out there. Getting the news out there as well. So again, thank you so much for joining us every week as he has done. So look, onward and upward, guys. We again, if you joined us late, unfortunately, this would normally be the time that Mr. Rotella would join us. Adam has decided to pursue some other ventures while NWA gets things straightened out, moving forward again. So unfortunately, Adam will not be with us until further notice. We hope to have him back someday, obviously, and we hope to have NWA back as well. I know a lot of you guys are watching NWA and you miss it as well as Jeff and I do. So we hope that all gets cleared up and we can go back to the norm and have Mr. Rotella back. So instead, we are going to start our Inside the Rope segment, which, it's that time. It's that time for buzzers and heels and faces and yes, the buzzers. Oh, I hate buzzers. I'm getting fired up. See, the buzzer gets me fired up. So here we go. Let's start the Inside the Rope segment. Now, listen, I told you guys earlier in the show, we do have a little bit of extra time because Adam's not with us. So now is the time. Start sending out the things that you want. One thing we're going to pick, and it'll be our fourth topic tonight of something you want us to debate. Now, make sure it is something that is debatable, that we can kind of go, pick a topic that we can kind of go do a little back and forth on here. Let us know your thoughts, and we'll shout out to the community and pick one of those out, and that'll be our last topic for this segment. So let's get it started here. Jeff, are you ready to roll?
Yeah, let's do it. All
right, man, let's do it. So I think we have something about Bray Wyatt to start. Is that correct? Yes, there it is.
That is correct.
All right, man. Well, this is, will we see a new Bray Wyatt faction, Jeff? Sell or no sell? Are we getting another faction from Bray?
No sell. No sell. Bray doesn't need a faction. Okay? He doesn't. And I think that in terms of the story that he's telling right now, I don't think it's about building another faction. I think it's about turning the people who he's encountered into something different. I don't think it's a matter of he wants Braun to necessarily join him, especially after the stunt that Braun pulled at Money in the Bank. I think right now it's about breaking him down, and I think that's what we will see at Extreme Rules. And someone just mentioned Bray has the Fiend. That's right. Bray has the Fiend. He has Cult Leader Bray now, and I think we will see more faces of Bray before we see a Wyatt faction.
Yeah. Look, this one, as much as I would like to turn heel right now, I cannot, because I'm no selling this also. I can't agree with that one. Look, it's too early. It's too early. We went over this on Abby's Window. If you guys watched that this week, I don't think so. He's doing this, like Jeff said, to break down Braun. Obviously he brought Cult Leader Bray back in to kind of get in Braun's head. And look, when you are the four faces of Foley and you're kind of doing that with Bray now, he's got his own faction in his head. So why would you need a faction when you have multiple factions right under your own hat? It just doesn't make sense. It would be cool to see Rowan. Don't get me wrong. If they did sign him back, it would be cool to. I think he's calling himself Redbeard now. So if we see him back, it would be cool. And there are rumors floating around, as we talked on Abby's, that this is going to be a cinematic match. If that's the case, maybe Rowan gets in there somehow as a memory or something, and he's really there. But obviously, maybe it's in Braun's head, and he's kind of seeing things. But maybe that's what happens. So no, I have to know. So I don't think they're going to go the faction route. Not yet. Bray's got too much story to tell, and too many things that he's got on his personal list. And again, like Jeff said, I agree. And many of you are saying he doesn't need a faction. He has the Fiend to bail him out of almost anything that he could get into. And look, the Fiend is that personality that is unbeatable. So no, sell this all away. He does not need a faction. Absolutely. Absolutely not. All right. So next, this one is an interesting one. Randy Orton. Randy Orton. Is Randy the greatest heel of all time? Now, we saw Ric Flair come out and declare him the greatest wrestler of all time on Raw. And, is Randy the greatest heel of all time? Go ahead, Jeff. Start it out.
This is a really tough one. I just have to say, this is really tough because what he's doing right now is so good, and he's better in my opinion than he's ever been, because I feel like we're seeing Randy put more effort into this. So even though it pains me to say this, I love it. I gotta sell it right now. Randy's at the top of his game, and I don't think there is anyone that's more dastardly, that is more cerebral in his attacks against the people he's going up against. I just feel like Randy is he's just so damn good right now. And listen, Ric Flair, dirtiest player in the game. I get it. There are a lot of other heels that I could bring up, but right now, maybe it's just recency bias, but give me Randy as the greatest heel of all time.
Boy, oh boy, I love these questions where it's one versus the field, because guess what I get to do? No, sell, absolutely not. No. He's the one man again. Listen, I respect Randy Orton, and I've talked to Jeff and I've talked to many others about what Randy Orton is doing. And yes, he is absolutely the top heel right now in WWE. I don't think there's any question about it. He's brought back the Legend Killer. He's punting people again. He is back to old Randy. But no, listen, again, it's almost like the whole greatest match ever thing. No, you can't. Look, there's just too many. I mean, like you just mentioned, Ric Flair. I could think of people from the 80s, Jake the Snake Roberts, Ted DiBiase, my goodness, Don Morocco. There's so many you could think of that are out there that are just tremendous heels, and go on and on down the list. And look, maybe one day Randy gets classified this way, and Randy deserves all the respect in the world. This guy is, for his age right now, and what he's doing, and the fact that there are so many major storylines going on with him now, and he's front and center, and he's probably better than he's ever been. But no, man, you cannot compare a guy who's there now, who's been wrestling for this amount of time that he's been, and say he's the best ever. There's just too much out there, and too many heels over the years that have been good for year after year after year after year. So no, sell this. And these are easy for me because, again, I've got the field as opposed to the one. So yeah, no sell Randy being greatest heel of all time. Maybe one day he will be, and I wouldn't doubt it. If it does happen, I would not be shocked. But as of right now, no selling that, man. He's not the greatest of all time. Not yet. So, our third one, and get those things ready, guys, and let us know what you think we should debate last. So, if you haven't, shout them out now. But our last one here that we have chosen are wrestling companies doing enough in response to the speaking out movement. I will. I will start this one. This is obviously, again, these are tough subjects to talk about. Are wrestling companies doing enough? I'm going to no sell. I just, yeah, I just haven't seen enough yet, and I'm not going to say that it's their fault. I'm not going to say that I blame them necessarily for this because I know this is something that they are not doing. You know, they were not on top of. Look, they just dropped the ball. They were not on top of this enough in the past. No one was. And so no, obviously we've seen Jack Gallagher let go. We've seen some guys put on suspension. No, I think that the punishment needs to fit the crimes. And obviously, look, I get it. There's arguments to everything. I know people are saying we can't be judge and jury, but look, you know, when these people are coming and speaking out and telling people that this happened, and this is my opinion, guys, so it may be a controversial one, but this is my opinion. I'm under the impression that these people should be believed. And then look, if something happens down the road where they get proven wrong, okay, apologize to that person and say, I'm sorry, but you know what? I don't know. I think to me at this point in time, this needs to be a suspension type thing. I think they need to be taken off television, and for a good amount of time, and not just not just maybe a week or so to go and get some counseling and that kind of stuff. Because look, I'm not a mental health expert by any means, and I'm not going to claim to be, but I do know that, when you go for counseling and stuff like that, that can be a long process. So just being off TV for a few weeks doesn't seem like the punishment fits a crime here, especially for, things that could have happened where you may have scarred these people for life. It doesn't seem fair. So no, I'm no selling that they're doing enough. Jeff, over to you, man.
Obviously, I'm going to no sell this, and I want to take this serious for a few minutes because I think you talked earlier about positives coming out of bad situations. I think if anything, the wrestling business has been exposed in this regard, and I think it's about time that it has been exposed in terms of training and booking and promoters and backstage politics and locker room stuff. Wrestling has been kind of a dirty business at times, and I don't say that because I've seen it on TV. I say it because I've seen it in real life. I don't think the major companies have done nearly enough. I applaud the smaller companies, independents, who have severed ties with people when it comes to these allegations. And you see a company like Impact who released Joey Ryan, who has been one of their top stars, and others. But I just don't think that's enough. What I feel like should happen here is that when there's an an allegation, there should be an investigation. These companies, especially the larger ones like WWE and AEW, they have the resources to conduct investigations. They have the resources to hire someone independently and look into these things and check what's going on. And I think when that happens, they should take that person off of TV. They should take them out of any kind of upcoming things until the pending investigation is complete. And I'll even go further than that. If it comes back that this person has been involved in some type of sexual assault and the accusations are true, I don't think suspensions are enough. I think that person should be let go, because there's no place in this world for any of this stuff to be going on. And, I applaud the people who have spoken out thus far. I think it's going to continue to happen and people are going to continue to speak out. But, I just feel like, I also want people to be really, really careful with when they say, I don't know if I believe that. I don't know if that's true. There's no way that fill in the blank wrestler could have done fill in the blank accusation. The amount of courage that it takes for a person to speak out about something like this is something that cannot be explained in words. And when a person feels that compelled to speak their truth, they shouldn't be questioned by people who know absolutely nothing about what happened. Again, I've had people say, well, what about false accusations? I get that. That's why you do investigations. But it also doesn't need to be done in a way where it makes that person feel like they've done something wrong because they've spoken out, because they've experienced something that was uncomfortable to them. So I really want people to take this seriously, because the amount of courage that is taking people to speak out on things that have happened in their personal lives that have affected them, you shouldn't meet them with, I don't believe you because I don't think that so-and-so would do this because of the character he portrays on TV or she portrays on TV. That's not fair to that person speaking out. And like Gary said, and I think I said this earlier in our chat, wholesale changes need to be made in wrestling. And this comes from having female promoters, having female bookers, having female trainers, having diverse people in high positions in these wrestling companies, because for too long it's looked one way. And we have more diversity in the business today than we've ever had. So let's make our executive level and our training levels look exactly like the talent do.
Yes, very well said, man. Very, very well said. I 100% agree. I 100% agree. Things have to change. And yeah, I absolutely agree. So I'm going through these let's finish on a little bit of a lighter fare, because this has been a rough podcast. I'm not gonna lie, this has been a rough one. We've had a lot of rough topics to talk about. So I know this was mentioned out there. This is actually news too, and I can't remember who mentioned it, but if I don't give you credit, I might have been Jake. Oh yeah. So WWE Backstage is canceled. It's cutting down an episode. Sorry, they're not canceling, but they're cutting way back. And the news is that FS1 is kind of cutting back on WWE programming a little bit. The news also is that there isn't a lot of, they're kind of not happy with some of the things WWE did, including that whole thing with Jeff Hardy, which they cut from the West Coast shows. And so, maybe a little bit of something going on there with Fox. But anyway, he says cutting down on episodes. Was it a good show? So, Jeff, what did you think of Sell or No Sell Backstage, man?
Oh man, this is tough. I'm gonna sell it, but with a caveat.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna sell it with a caveat. I like the show. I like the ideas that they had. I love the collection of people that they had on the show. Anytime you put Booker T in front of a camera and give him a microphone, that's just pure gold. But I hated the time slot that they were in. And I feel like that probably lends itself to some of the disappointment that they had in terms of ratings and viewership. So, I love the show. I'd like to see them bring the show on the network potentially, if it's not going to have a home on Fox, or if they do more on the network, and then maybe do like a once a week or once every 2 weeks, maybe once every 2 weeks show on Fox. I mean, but put it in a better time slot. My goodness, I'm old. I can't stay up that late, and I have to get to bed, and and all that good stuff. So I mean, I love the show, but man, that time slot was just terrible.
I am going to give you guys a little bit of Vince McMahon no sell. No, man, this show was all hype, man. When they started advertising this thing back when they started, boy, oh boy, did they put commercials out for this show. They started off with all this hype. Oh, this guy's going to be here, and that guy's going to... CM Punk's episode was all about him walking to a truck, riding in a truck, getting out of a truck, entering the building, showing him coming in, and then he sat down and did nothing. Come on, man. CM Punk, you have a CM Punk on the show, and this is what you're gonna have him do, is sit there and act like a, for better or worse, he's acting like a McMahon stooge who he couldn't stand when he was there, and couldn't stand the, hated everything going on in WWE. And then he comes out and he says, he basically says nothing. We expected controversy on this show. We expected a little fire on this show. Oh, come on, man. And then they're going to show me they're bringing people on to do promos with them, and actors coming on and trying to do oh, my goodness. And then it just, as it went on, it just got awful. Like the segments at the end with the breaking news and stuff. Okay, I'll give that to you. But come on, you can find this breaking news stuff anywhere you go. You can go on Twitter, for God's sake, for 5 seconds and find the breaking news. You don't need a show to tell you that, to wait until, midway through or 45 minutes in. No way. This show deserves to go away. It stunk. I wasn't a fan. I'm good. Let it go. Good riddance. I'm good. We'll see on the flip side somewhere. And I don't know, maybe do a I don't know, maybe bring Vince McMahon and have him do a talk show like Johnny Carson. I don't know, something new, something different. I'm no selling this all the way. Let it go. I'm good. Oh man!
Listen. Rusty said that he agrees with Evil Joe, and then someone says, well, maybe Evil Joe likes Deadpool.
I do not like.
Are you selling or no selling that?
Rusty, you know what I'm saying to Deadpool? No sell. That's what I'm saying to Deadpool. No sell Deadpool. Deadpool. He's a waste of a superhero, too. That guy's awful. Stupidest superhero ever. Rusty, no sell Deadpool. Oh, man.
That's harsh, man. I love Deadpool.
I just never got into that character, man. I just could never see I just could never see what people saw in that guy. Like I don't know, what is he? He's Jason Voorhees wearing a superhero costume. Like, it can't kill him. I mean, come on, come up with something a little bit better, for God's sake. I'd take Squirrel Girl in Marvel over Deadpool any day, and twice on Tuesday.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my gosh!
Man. Absolutely, Squirrel Girl. Way better than Deadpool.
No. Listen, this. You know what? This is going to be a topic next week on Inside the Ropes. This is going to be a topic. We've got to make this a topic for next week, because I mean, dude, Deadpool is so freaking awesome. He's hilarious. I mean, the punchlines, we're gonna save this for next week.
There you go, guys. We're gonna go.
I got your back. I got your back. Your back, guys.
We're going at it hardcore next week, man, and I am going to come in with ammunition. I am going to study up on Deadpool, and I'm coming in with ammunition about how stupid this character is. So we got it going, man. You got to tune in next week, because it is on. We are going to go at it next week, yes. And of all things, on comic book topics. So here we go. Awesome.
Why not? Why not?
Oh man. Awesome, man. Awesome. Love it. Love that segment. And thank you guys for sending in your thoughts. Love it. Listen, if you guys, again, we tell you this all the time, please send us in your topics, wrestling related. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't have to be wrestling related. Who knows? Give us a topic about something else, and we'll see if we can do it. Who knows? So we are at that time of the night, and I know it's getting late, so we're not going to keep you too long. But if you have any Q&A for us, please, now is the time to get. Looks like I'm getting killed out there, Jeff. Deadpool is immortal.
You are,
awesome.
yeah.
Man, I got to come at you guys. I'm going to build up Major Heel next week, baby. I'm going to come at you guys like Randy Orton.
Listen.
And I'm going to punt the chat. I'm going to punt the chat next week.
Listen, I've got the Insider's Army on my side. We're gonna run this thing. Okay, we got it. We got it. Next week, we got this thing. I got you guys. I got you. Trust me. Trust me.
Oh, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. So yeah, send us out some questions if you would like to have some Q&A before we wrap it up. And again, we really appreciate you guys all joining us. If you didn't hear the interview earlier today with Derek, please go and listen to that. It was a very good interview. Derek's a cool dude. He's got his own radio show. So give that a listen. We also have more from Brandy coming up. Brandy's going to be doing a segment on Waylon Mercy. So there you go. We're going to get some background on Waylon Mercy, the character who is the guy who they built Mercy the Buzzard, who is an influence to Bray. So we will be hearing from Brandy about him. And then we also have an interview coming up with our own DJB Tazzy. So we're going to be talking to Tazzy on the weekend, probably Saturday, it looks like. So we're going to talk to DJB Tazzy, and then we will put his interview out next Wednesday before AEW and NXT. So thank you ahead of time. I know he's in the chat, so thank you for joining us for that interview on Saturday. We're going to talk a little bit of cooking, maybe share some recipes with DJB Tazzy. Who knows? Maybe I'll ask him what his thoughts are on. Right. Maybe I'll ask him what his thoughts are on Deadpool. And don't say you like him, DJB Tazzy, because look, man, you know, yeah, don't come at me in the interview with that kind of stuff. So anyway, let's see what we have got here. Bertrice Talks Wrestling says, thoughts on the Great American Bash returning, Jeff? What do you think?
I would love that because that was one of my favorite pay-per-views back in the day. So I'm talking about pre WWE purchasing WCW. I really enjoyed watching those as a WCW fan. So I would love to see that happen for sure.
Yeah, I would agree. I always love the Great American Bash. It's a classic pay-per-view. There have been a lot of memories attached to that, and if they would bring that back, I would be all for it because, yes, absolutely, one of the best pay-per-views that I used to watch. So absolutely. Sonny, are you coming at Thanos? Is that what you're trying to do? You're telling me Thanos is weak and he had to get stones to defeat? Oh, come on. Did you watch Endgame? Come on now. Thanos didn't have the gauntlet at the end of Endgame, and he beat the snot out of everybody. Even Captain Marvel, who was supposed to be the big hero that was supposed to come and rescue everybody, he just beat her butt. So come on now. Let's not get carried away here. Thanos is not weak. Let's see. Can I do a Paul Bearer? Oh, you're killing me. It's so late at night. Wait, hold on. Let me get a little swig of my cream soda I've got here. Okay, here we go. Oh, my Undertaker. There you go. That's the best you're going to get from me. It's late, and my voice is bad, and so there you go. You got you got my Eric wants to know if I like Venom. Yeah, always like Venom. Yeah, he's cool character. I read him right from the start when Todd McFarlane first drew him. I was really into Spider-Man then because McFarlane was an unbelievable artist. And Venom, listen, if you like Venom, go back and read those original books with him, because it was a very, very dark character. It was almost like a horror story in those books when he first came out. So if you like that character, go and go and read those, because they're really, really, really good. Nails wants to know: would you rather pet sit Rowan Spider or Jake Snake? Go ahead, Jeff, man. Spider or a snake?
Listen, I used to have a pet tarantula back in the day, but
Ooh,
it was actually a real spider and not a mechanical one like Rowan. So, listen, give me Damien all day long. I don't want that stupid spider, because I can just shut it off.
There you go. Yeah, man. Yeah, that's true. The mechanical spider. Yeah, no, I kind of get bored with a mechanical spider, although you can play some pretty good pranks on people with it. But no, yeah, I have to agree. I'd go with Jake Snake there. Big Boy Daily, hey, how are you, man? He says, who is somebody you feel from any company deserves a push, maybe a title shot? For me, Abaddon from AEW. I absolutely love her character. Love that she put out a video, by the way, today, which was really funny. It was a match, some kind of AEW match. And then she said, wait for the end. You know how you get these videos on social media and they'll say, wait for the end. And it's always something really scary that they throw at you because you're not expecting it. Well, she did this with a wrestling match, and the match is going on, and then all of a sudden, boom, and she appears on the screen. So I dug that. I like Abaddon, and I think she deserves to have a shot at the title in AEW. What do you think, Jeff?
Man, that's a good question. And I feel like I say this a lot, but my God, for the love of all things holy, give Cesaro a freaking title shot. A title shot. Please. I mean, the man is incredible. And, he goes out there and does what they want him to do. And he seems like a great guy. Give Cesaro a title shot already. I mean, there are some other folks that I could think of. In terms of AEW, I'd like to see Big Swole get an opportunity. I'd love to see Abaddon get an opportunity. But yeah, get freaking Cesaro. Give him a chance.
Yeah, I agree. Let's see, what else do we have here? Oh, we're getting Deadpool stuff. Is Deadpool a parody character? Man. Jesse, he should be a parody character because it's ridiculous. Like the character is ridiculous, so he should be. If he's not, then yes, he should be. And Ryan Reynolds, I'm sorry, Ryan Reynolds. Yeah, he does nothing for me. You know what Ryan Reynolds was in? He was in Green Lantern. It was one of the worst movies ever. So you want to get?
We don't bring that up.
Oh, I bring it up. We don't
bring that up.
I'm bringing it up, baby. Green Lantern. Yes. Would you like?
Hey, Rusty has a good question that's unrelated to anything regarding Deadpool and your hate for him right now. He asked if Rusty should have pineapple pizzas delivered to Buff Bagwell's house. Listen. Not only should it have pineapple on it, but you should throw some broccoli on there, some anchovies, and a lot of other things, and just let it go. Just let it go, and you can tell him you can tell him it's for me. Just send him well wishes for me. Somebody's gonna ask me about this story one day, and
yes. Would you let Brutus the Beef Barber cut my hair? You know what, Nails? At this point right now, because it's been so damn long since I actually was able to get to a barber, yes, I would let Brutus cut my hair with the shears, mind you. Yes. At this point, I could use a haircut, so yes, I would let Brutus the Barber cut my hair. Yes, I would. Right now,
well,
yes.
Since I'm follically challenged, I'm going to say no, because he's not coming He's not coming anywhere near my beard, so absolutely not. He can keep those shears up there with you and cut your hair.
Oh my goodness! Oh, I saw the pineapple pizza. What would you rather be managed by Sensational Sherri or Luna Vachon? Wow.
Oh.
That's a really good question. Sherri kind of always got
Sherri.
on my. Yeah, man. I think I'd go Luna because Sherri got on my nerves. Like Sherri would scream a lot, and like at the ring she was like, oh no, yeah. I think Luna because Luna was crazy, but yeah, no, man. I think Luna because yeah, you had the more horror kind of character there, and yeah, Sherri just screamed too much for me.
See, I got the exact same thing from Luna though. Like
Okay.
she was kind of annoying to me, and Sherri was just always just so awesome and just badass. That's why I really liked her. So yeah, Sherri all day long.
Okay, well there you go.
Hey, Days. I think Days fan is about to have a.
He might be having a stroke. Yeah, we better get to that one.
It might be. Let's get to this one. What do you think of Eva Marie's attire? And be careful there.
He says
listen.
says she's his wife. I don't believe that, but go ahead.
I mean, we all have dreams.
Yeah, right.
But listen, I have no problems with her attire. She's a very attractive lady, Days fan, and she has wonderful attire. But that's when she was in the ring. I'm sure she's still a lovely lady now. I don't keep up with her much, but I'm sure she is. Have fun, man. She's a beautiful woman.
Sonny's drinking a Timmy's because she thinks she beat me with Thanos. I just didn't see. Well, here, look. She's saying he had people do the work for him. Look, Sonny, he's smart, and villains are smart, and when they're smart, they have people do their dirty work. So, yes, that is showing signs of intelligence because the leaders don't always go out there in the field, but when he did, he kicked pretty much ass. So, yeah, you didn't win anything. Drink your Timmy's, though. Go right ahead. Drink till your heart's content, but you didn't win. Anyway. Ryan Reynolds is comedy gold. No, he's not really. Ryan Reynolds is not comedy gold. No. Come on, Dave. Come on, Rusty. Come on.
He's hilarious.
He was good.
He's so funny.
He was good in some movies. I'll give you that. But he's not. Look, when he went into, you want here? Okay, all right. Let's go to. Let me bring up this little movie. Okay. What about the Wolverine movie? Rusty, when Mr. Reynolds tried to play Deadpool the first time, and they made him into a mutated a person unable to speak with no mouth and big knives on each one of his hands. Yeah, so don't come at me with all this good stuff about Ryan Reynolds because that was crap. So again, strike two, Green Lantern and the Wolverine, 2 strikes. So yeah, so let's not come at me with the Ryan Reynolds business. Oh my goodness! If you woke up at 3 a.m. to someone at the bottom of your bed, would you rather it was Abaddon or the New Day hyped on sugar? Abaddon. I like the horror stuff. I don't know. I mean, would I want them at the bottom of my bed at 3 a.m.? Probably not. Probably neither one. But yeah, I think I'd probably have to go with Abaddon. What about you, Jeff?
Wow. Listen, as much as I love horror stuff, waking up to her being in my bed at 3 o'clock in the morning with that makeup and all that stuff going on, I would no longer exist. I would be a memory from that point on. So yes, the New Day, because I could hang out with those guys and have some fun and not die of a heart attack because I just woke up in a horror movie.
There you go. Eric Haberman has a wrestling question. Do I miss WCW? Yes. Love WCW. It was a great time to watch wrestling. The '90s. Obviously, I started picking it up right around the time when the Outsiders came, and of course that led to Hogan. And yes, I absolutely miss WCW. But look, the good thing is we have a lot of things going on in wrestling now too. So again, like I always say, it's kind of cool to have competition, and we've got a lot of good wrestling out there now today too. So yes, I do miss it, but hey, things move on, and we've got some good things going on there with many companies now: Impact Wrestling, Ring of Honor, NWA. We got a lot of good stuff going on here. So yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Austin says, well, Austin is generating his inner William Regal. Hello, William Regal here. Do you guys? I can't do that accent. Can't do it. I'm sure I've got some British people out there who would do a much better William Regal. I'm not even going to try. Do you guys still prefer AEW over NXT? If you change your answers, I will give you guys NXT contracts. Oh, that's clever. Look, this argument is going to go on until the end of time. I like them both. I like things about both shows. I'm not going to say I like one over the other. I will tell you this. I watch AEW more. I just kind of started watching NXT last year. So I don't know as much about their wrestlers. I'm learning a lot. So I do have favorites over there. Karrion Kross, I absolutely love. He's a beast, and he proved that again today. I absolutely love his character. I like Keith Lee. Well, I like what he's doing. So there are people over there that I do. Of course, Io Shirai is amazing. So there are people in NXT that I really like and respect. But I've been watching AEW more. I've watched that since it started. So if I had to pick one, and I'm not, because I watch them both, but if I had to pick one, I would say AEW. What about you, Jeff?
Yeah. Listen, I'm kind of the opposite. I watch a lot more NXT than I do AEW. I typically watch NXT live and then go back and watch AEW pre-recorded. But I still got to say AEW, because what they're doing right now, and the talent that they have, and the names that they have, and the uniqueness of their product, I really enjoy it. Now, I'm not saying that the gap between the two is Grand Canyon size. I mean, it's pretty close. Sometimes it just depends on the week, honestly, because one thing I can say about NXT is that they constantly have great matches, and they really seem to do that well, and a lot better than some others. But right now, for me, AEW is still kind of edging. They've edged ahead of NXT.
Austin says no NXT contracts to us. Yeah, well,
darn, there goes my match with Keith Lee that I was dreaming of.
Oh man. See, now you broke Jeff's heart. Big Boy says, may you please say, I'm afraid I've got some... see, now you want me to do this British stuff. I can't do this. I can't... all right, hold on. I'll try it. This is going to be bad because I can't do a good British accent. Although I'll tell you a story. So I'll tell you a quick story because I know it's getting late. There is a copy out there, and I'm going to see if I could find... I know I have it. I have it on my iPod, I think. But there was a time, I know a guy who's one of my better friends. He has a recording studio. So he kind of got us all together, and we were drinking a little bit of adult beverages, and, kind of all started to, get some ideas. And he says to me, well, why don't we record a song? So he's an amazing musician. He could play anything, and just given a little bit of time. So we had a guy who was a drummer, and myself, and my friend Ed, who you guys that listen may know him from the 80s podcast, and Joe, who was the guy who owned the studio. And we decided to record the song by AC/DC, Big Balls. Now, if you've never heard this song, this was AC/DC before Bon Scott. Or no, that was Bon Scott, wasn't it? Yes. See, it's late, and I'm getting my music history confused. But that was their lead singer before the current one. and he had passed away. But this is a song that you have to literally have the like the deepest kind of British accent that you could even think of. And the only thing I could think of going into this is like, how am I going to do this? And the only thing I could think of was John Cleese. So John Cleese, it was the only thing I could come up with to sing this song. And actually, it turned out pretty well. I don't know how I did it. Probably the adult beverages had something to do with it. But it actually came out pretty well. So I have this somewhere, and every now and then it'll pop up on my iPod when I'm driving. And all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I remember this. But we had a good time doing that. So yes. So that is my British accent story. The one time in my life that I did it, but I even forgot what the heck. I'm afraid I got some bad news. There you go,
Joe. That was good. Come on, man. Come on, that was good.
There you go, big boy.
I mean that was good.
Okay, all right. See, there you go. I still got it. Jesse says my hubby's jealous that I'm cuddled with my Bray Wyatt bleacher creature. Yes. Oh, there you go. Oh my goodness. Which wrestler would you like to read you a bedtime story? Mickey James. Sorry.
Of course, Joe. Of course.
Yeah. Go figure. Brian Johnson. Yes. Thank you, Butterspark. Yes. Brian Johnson is the current lead singer of ECA. How could I forget that? I'm a disgrace to the metal scene. Yes. So, listen, guys, it has been fun. We've kept you long enough fooling around with the question. As always, thank you to you guys for shouting these questions out. We have a blast with this stuff. It's really fun. And just like we do every week with you guys, we appreciate you all coming and staying with us for an evening of fun and frivolity and debating. And next week, man, you heard it right here. We're going to debate Deadpool, baby. It's coming. So look forward to that next week on next week's show. And hopefully the wrestling week gets a little brighter and a little better, and it's not all bad news, because we hate to always be the bearer of that kind of stuff. So yes, again, thank you. And join us for the shows that are coming up later in the week. Obviously, Brandy's show on Friday. Join us for that. And also the interview with Tazzy will be up next Wednesday. And then join us for Abby's Window, of course, on Monday. We shall see what happens there. We've got some stuff going on. Obviously, they've advertised Braun Strowman. So we will see. Obviously, we'll have a Braun Strowman reaction to that, and we will be talking about that on Abby's Window. So I know Jeff teased a little bit of something with you guys in the chat in the interview. If you weren't there, you might want to go back and watch that, because I'm not going to make him say it again. But he teased a little something we've got cooking, something down the road, and I'm going to tease a little something we've got cooking too before you guys go. We're gonna do a little competition, little contest. We're gonna figure out the details, but the contest is gonna be, we're gonna have one of you, our listeners, come on our show with a debate topic and debate with us in the Inside the Rope segment. So we're gonna figure that out, and we're gonna decide how we're gonna do that exactly and how we're gonna award the winners. So if one of you guys wants to come on, and I know Rusty's dying to get on here and talk to me about stupid Deadpool. If one of you guys want to do that, you're gonna have the opportunity to do that. So we're gonna announce that somewhere down the line. It is coming soon. So from Jeff and myself, Jeff, any final thoughts before we let these guys go and go to bed?
No, I don't want to keep anybody up longer. I just want to say thank you to everyone, and thank you for continuing to support us, and go to bed.
Yes. It's over. Go home. It's over. To quote the famous Ferris Bueller. Yes. Good night, everybody, and we will talk to you all again very soon. Have a great night and a great rest of your wrestling week. Take care, everybody.